And like any high achiever, like I always think I'm not doing enough. Like I'm gonna leave here and be like, oh my god, I spent 2 hours over there, and now I need to make up I need to make up the 2 hours tonight. That's how you pretty much identify that you're gonna be hyper successful. It was $175,000 in renovation. Well, I just sold the property for $206. That is like a cool thing about real estate. It's not like all these other like drop shipping econ. Like you do 3 deals, that pays for
everything you need.
Welcome back to the Investor Unite podcast, where we talk all things real estate, business, and entrepreneurship.
If you're looking to ignite your real estate investing, then join us at Investors Unite. And on today's podcast, we have a handsome young man. He looks way younger than he actually is, I just found out. Isaac.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Isaac has been in the game for a little while. You're about 30 years old now?
30, yep.
30, that's crazy.
That's insane, yeah.
So before we go into like your whole background and kind of just like give the audience an idea of what you've done over the past couple of years, we like to play this little game in the beginning. We just started recently doing. And if you've ever watched like a CIA or like James Bond movie, it's wherever you're in like an interview and I'll say one word and the first word that comes to your head, just say it back.
This might be dangerous, but
it's okay.
I was like, this is perfect.
Steph has some words lined up. So.
Yeah. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, family.
wife and kids.
Syndications.
Challenging.
Section 8.
Terrible idea.
Partnerships.
Dangerous.
Rough.
Go ahead.
Oh, creative financing.
Awesome.
Interest rates.
Challenging.
Burr.
Awesome.
Multifamily.
Only way.
No singles.
No singles.
Okay. No, we're the same way.
Yeah.
All right. That's about all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, singles are good, but
Yeah.
not in the city, not row homes, nothing like that.
True. If you're like suburbs area, luxury market.
But yeah, so now we kind of want to go into like your backstory so the audience knows, and we truly don't even know too much. But
I was say, do you want to give like a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure. I'm not going to bore you with like high school, college.
That's okay.
So I went to college.
Okay.
Studied marketing, went to Liberty University.
That's no way.
So fucking funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually got in some trouble drinking there and actually got sort of like kicked out. They basically said like, you're not allowed to study online here.
Oh, shoot.
So my last like half semester I had to do it online.
Mm-hmm.
Actually got a job selling cars.
Nice.
Which kind of progressed into, I met someone who I sold a car to who got me a job, and that was at JB Hunt, which is a trucking company.
Okay.
So once I graduated, I could work there. I was making like, I think $49,900, which was like kind of a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot of money.
At what age?
I was probably, 21, I guess, when I graduated, or around there, 20.
Yeah. So you got your bachelor's?
I got my bachelor's, from
Nice.
Liberty. And just never, like, I knew there was, like, something more. I was never, like, I didn't have a lemonade stand and sell baseball cards and doing that, but, like, I just knew that there was more to life than, like,
Just working a job.
And
right.
So at JB Hunt, I was in charge of a bunch of drivers. I was working at night and obviously would get on YouTube, kind of like everyone else, learned on YouTube, podcasts just like this. And I started watching The Flip Man, and I was like, if this guy can do it, like, I can do it. Yeah. Just kept looking, and it was nowhere near as competitive as it is now wholesaling.
Yeah.
So I saw a house that was run down, kind of where I lived, and one day I saw someone out at that house.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is how I do it. I'm going to go talk to this guy. And come to find out, he had his mom or his wife's mom had just passed away. And he thought I was actually going to be buying the house for myself and my family. And I kind of like, I didn't tell him I wasn't, but I didn't tell him I was.
You just didn't know how to like navigate that at the time?
Yeah, and I didn't want to. He liked that idea. Like I knew he was going to give me a deal on the house.
Was he looking at you kind of like as like my son?
Yes, and he thought like he was going to help me into this house, and I was like, oh, crap, like
not my idea.
Yeah, do I
figure out a way?
Do I tell him or? Yeah. And so I didn't. I just went with it. He agreed to sell to me for, I believe it was like $70,000. It was like a brick rancher.
Yeah.
And then I was like, when he said yes, I was like, oh, let me go get a contract and come back. So I went. The Flip Man had like a put your email in, get a contract. I did that.
Yep.
Went and got it signed up, and then I was like, okay, now what do I do? And that was back when like people would tell you to put it on Craigslist.
Yeah.
So I put it on Craigslist, and a local realtor called me I showed it to him, and he was like, I'll give you 8, and I wanted 80 for it. So I wanted to make 10 grand. And he said yes. And I was just like, holy cow, I just made 10 grand.
Oh, it's that easy.
Well, then this was also way before, like, I mean, wholesaling's always been around, but it was never as easy with title companies and all that. And it took forever to find a title company that would work with me. And this realtor was like, dude, what you're trying to do is like not legal. Here's $2 grand, just leave. So I was like, oh, man, like went from 10 grand to $2 grand, but I was like, okay, I'll do it. And it was like proof of concept. And really from that point on, it was like a light bulb went off, and it was like, like a serious problem.
Yeah, that realtor though messed you up.
I still know him to this day, actually. So I'm not going to tell you who he was, but I would never do that to someone getting into the business.
Yeah. But a lot of realtors don't know too. They honestly do think wholesaling's like,
and that was
especially back then.
That was what, like 8-9 years ago?
That was 7 years ago. It was 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. So that house has since before I got on here, I was like, I didn't figure out when I did start this. That house has since sold like 3 times. It just sold for $225.
No way.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I bought it for $80.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to buy and hold properties, not sell them.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, you got a tremendous amount of equity then built up by then.
But yes, and then from there I bought like, I kind of went into the whole like city, you see the city houses on Zillow, and they were $17,000. I'm like, I looked at my wife at the time. I'm like, let's like buy a couple of these.
Right.
So we bought one, and I put $7 grand into it, and I refinanced it and appraised for 70. So I made like whatever, 30 grand. It was all said and done.
Oh shit.
Did you use a bank loan, or did you use private?
I actually borrowed money from a family member.
Okay.
It was only like 17 grand. So I borrowed, I think, 12 grand from, it was actually my wife's mom. I borrowed 12 grand, I think, from her, and then the other, whatever, 6 and closing was my money.
Yeah.
And this was already like rent ready?
No, it needed, it was close. It needed like painted. I actually bought it from the guy who owns Savannah's.
Oh, no.
His brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, it was the owner of Savannah's. That's who it was. Because when we were sitting at settlement, I was like, so like, what are you going to get into now? And he had like, rings and like long hair. I don't know if you've seen the guy before.
Yeah.
He sits back at the settlement company, or he sits back at the closing table, and he's like, well, I'm going to start this club, and like, and into the strip business. And I didn't really understand what he meant.
Was he the owner of Savannah's at that time?
Yeah, he was the owner of Savannah's at that time. And he sat back and he like put his arms back like this. It's like, I own Savannah's. And it was like this. And then it clicked like who he was and what it was. And it was, but yeah, that just turned into one deal after another. And then I actually took a job. I left my 9 to 5 and I took a job for a wholesaling company. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people do that. And it just we didn't mesh super well. I really then became like a self-employed person. And
gotcha.
And how long were you with the company for?
I was with him for probably about a year.
Okay.
And I was kind of like his right-hand man. We became really close. And as employees, as he started to then hire people on, that's when like, because I was basically treated as like an owner, but paid as like I was paid like an owner, but was still like a 1099 of his.
Now, was this like a 50-50 partnership too, or was it?
No, I was just paid like 10% of the assignment, I think it was, or 20%.
Okay. So you weren't even on the LLC then?
No, I was straight up 1099, but it was like I did everything. I basically pulled the data. I came up with all the campaigns. It was basically his business and my business, but like I wasn't an owner.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So as he started to bring people on, I was like losing responsibility and then like being pulled back into an employee, and we didn't get along. Not going to mention his name, but
were you still getting those 10% margins even after?
Yeah. Okay. But then, so he had a few fix and flips that didn't go as well, and like it
started to crumble.
Yeah. And I think since he's recovered and is doing really well. I think I've spoke to him once in the past like 7 years.
Oh shoot! Dang.
It was an ugly ending, and then I started Premier Home Solutions, and that went crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have any like advice for, say, someone's looking to be in like a potential partnership for some, do you recommend it, or
I think the partnerships are really good. The hardest thing is like you're trying to take action and just go.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, the paperwork has to be. It's almost like signing a prenup with like your wife. Like I don't have a prenup with my wife.
Okay, I was gonna say
I don't believe in them. But then at the same time, like if I would have taken the documentation more serious in the previous business I was in, I wouldn't have gotten into the lawsuit that I got myself into if we would have organized it properly. So it's
right.
So the partnerships are really good, but at the same time, they can destroy your life.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll dive into the lawsuit a little bit later on. I want to save that kind of towards the end. Keep watching. It gets interesting. But going back to, so you did that first quote unquote wholesale deal with that realtor, and then did you buy that $17,000 property immediately after, or did you do any more wholesales in between that time?
No, I didn't do any wholesale. So I kind of got into the business with the idea of like owning rental properties.
Okay.
So no, I saw that property. I mean, for $17,000, I don't think it was worth more than $17,000 at the time. Like nowadays, if we looked at that property, we would buy all of them.
So how did you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Back then, that property, it was probably like $25,000 property.
Okay. So then, how did the appraisal come in at so high? Were you able to?
So he actually used a 2-unit to appraise when the appraiser.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So he used a 2-unit as a comp because so little had sold back then.
Yeah.
I know you guys aren't super familiar with York, but this was on East Philly where like there's like a car wash, a beer store.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a bad area. Like you got the corner store, a beer store, and a car wash.
Yeah.
Like nothing good goes on.
No good comps there.
Yeah. So he actually used a 2-unit. So it appraised for like 80. It appraised for 80, and then
I mean, did he see that it was listed for 17 for like?
So it was actually a for sale by owner.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So that was kind of like I was on Zillow. I unchecked all the listings, and actually, I think my wife might have found it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Props, sir. Good job.
Yeah, she's actually found some of our cooler properties.
Nice.
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, going into, after doing the partnerships and stuff like that, and then you guys splitting up and going into that other company, and then that not working out so much. So like, what happened after that? Like, were you like wanting to partner with your wife and you guys going full force, or is it just you, one-man show? Like, what was next?
After the second partnership breakup, or after that employment issue?
After the second. I mean, we don't have to dive into the second one, unless you want to.
I got into the actual partnership because when I got out of that employment situation, I had signed a non-compete, and I was like scared. He would text me not nice things and threaten me.
I didn't know.
What is a non-compete?
A non-compete basically is something you sign that says like if you leave willingly or unwillingly or whatever, you can't go and own a competing business, which is total bogus.
And this is with the second partnership.
This is with the first one. This is with
so many going back and forth.
So this was just where I was just a worker.
Okay.
I had signed a non-compete. Non-competes are bogus.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
But you don't know that. Even to like I say that, but like I really don't know if they are or not. No one really knows because like you're.
I just can't imagine like that's even a legal thing because once somebody leaves your company, I understand like there is some kind of
like trade secrets and
right, exactly. But
yeah, it's like a gray area. No, and an attorney can't really tell you. I met with a well-known attorney in York, and I'm like, look, here's the non-compete. He didn't pay me for the last 2 deals. I'm a 1099. I'm not even an employee.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's hard to really say till we get into litigation. And I'm like, that's not the answer I want.
Yeah.
So I would get these, text messages because I was like still buying rental properties, which he didn't know about. But every now and then I'd have a deal to sell and I'd post it on Facebook and he'd see it and he'd send me a screenshot of it and be like, luckily I'm a nice guy and like it was, and I was scared.
That's crazy.
So
you were just a young kid.
Yeah, I was like, whatever, 23, 24.
Yeah.
And so I met my next business partners. I'm technically still partners with them. I met them. And they basically, the one brought me under his arm, the one that and I was like, wow, this guy is going to go to bat for me. He's financially got me.
Yeah.
So I was like committed to them. It just felt right. We were both Christians. Like it
right.
all was like, it just seemed like something from above.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. So I was like, let's go.
How did you guys meet though?
So we actually met. So I met Dave Heisen through, when I got my license, I don't know how it was when you got yours, but it was really hard to like find how you get your license.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't easy. I don't know if it's easy now or not. But
I just asked around. Like I
had to ask everyone and no one could tell me anything. So Dave, he told me. So I'm like, well, I'm committed to this guy. I'm going to put my license there. So then he introduced me to this guy and they met at, they connected at a mastermind in Lancaster, and it was like a Christian-based mastermind. So we believed there was credibility with the gentleman because you couldn't just you couldn't just pay money to get into this other mastermind. Like you had to be interviewed. So we just assumed that like there was credibility there. And like from the surface, and anyone who knows this guy knows that from the surface, it seems really good.
Yeah.
And that's what's so dangerous about partnerships.
Yeah.
And so I was committed to them, and we started this business, and it was scary.
How long were you with them for?
So we were only in business for about a year and a half before I went to them and just said, hey guys, like I'm not happy.
Yeah. You guys accomplished a lot though in that year and a half.
Yeah, we did. So in 2021, we had a completely different approach to everyone. So when 2019, 2020, that whole COVID era, everyone was scared shitless of like real estate. Even I was. Tenants weren't paying.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never going to own rental properties. So like, let's do something else. Because it was that scary. You didn't know what was going to happen.
Did you still own that first rental at the time?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And luckily, I got being a private landlord who self-manages, I have like a relationship with my tenants. So like,
right.
I was, I kind of reached out to them. Look, if you guys can't pay, like you need to communicate with me. But like, I had like 6 rental properties, so it wasn't like a challenge. But I forgot where I was going with that.
Your strategy.
So our strategy, basically, we had the capital and the private lenders. We closed on everything. I mean, literally everything. I mean, I truly believe single-handedly we brought the market up in York. So like we would put we would buy a 2-unit for 40 or 50 grand, put a little money into it. And I'm talking like we would paint the front porch, clean up the front, put a new mailbox on with a nice letter, maybe increase,
nice letters.
increase the rent maybe like $25, put on a legitimate lease, and put it back on the market for 50, 60. And we would slowly, every time I got another 2-unit, because I was basically the one acquiring them. I was running all the marketing, and then I was the listing agent. So I was
you just did everything.
Basically my business. And I'm not sgrand to say that, but so we like I would.
They know it.
They do know it, and we would slowly increase the price, $5 grand, $10 grand, but that was, and you guys know, when you wholesale, flipping you make the most, wholesaling you make the second most, and then wholesaling you make the least, but it's like the less risk, it's easier.
Right.
I mean, we wholetailed 120 homes. We made like 1.3, 1.4 million net.
In a year and a half.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
Yeah, I mean
that's crazy.
It was a good life. I mean, we were. I was making $2,500 a week.
Wow.
That's what we were paying ourselves. Not then the business was compensating us for our meals. We would travel out to Arizona and meet with all these guys in this space that we all watch on TV.
Insane.
Definitely seemed like you made it.
Yeah, it felt like it.
Yeah.
So the reason I wasn't happy then is I just like, and like I'm a big believer in like money. Like I'm not a money shamer. I think money's super important. But like this is like one of the only times in my life where I was like, I don't care how much money I have. Like this sucks.
Right.
Like I was arguing with this guy every day, and it was just like.
About what, if you don't mind?
Just like really like accountability. He wasn't doing what he said he was going to do, and I would pick up the slack, and I'm more of just like a go-getter. So I was just, I would just do it because it needed done.
Yeah.
And, at some point, like you stop doing what's good for like everyone, because like you have to care about yourself more than you care about your wife, your kid, because if you don't care about yourself, like you can't care about them.
Yeah.
So I went to my wife and I was like, what do I do? And she's like, well, you just need to go talk to him. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. So I did. I went to the one guy that I was, closer with than the other one. I said, hey, like, I'm not happy. I don't want to own any of the rental properties, because we also had bought like 80 some rentals.
And this time, were you guys all on the same LLC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were all a third partner.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So we had like, I think it was like 70 or 80 rentals. We sold 120 homes. And I was like, look, you can have all the rental properties.
Yeah.
Like, I want nothing. Whatever you guys think is fair, I'll take.
It must have been really bad.
Yeah, and I had also just came off of I made the 150 salary or 2,500 a week. Like, it was.
You were good.
In my head, like, I had all the knowledge to do this business. The market was still hot. I was just going to start my own business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the fear they had, or he had, was like, Isaac just took my income source away. And I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this or not, but we actually offered him $1 million to buy him out of the business.
No way.
Oh, shit.
And he said no.
That's crazy.
He said no.
He came back and said that he wanted 2.5. And we were like, dude.
How did he come up with that?
We have no idea.
No idea.
None.
Yeah.
It's a flipping business. It's literally worthless.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, at least you offered $1 million.
Yeah.
Try to be nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Then
so
2023 was kind of like my. I mean, that was like you go through a lawsuit like that. I've spent like 120 some thousand in attorney fees.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. So you go through that, and like I went from being like thinking I knew everything about this business and I didn't need 2 partners to thinking like, should I go get a job?
Mm-hmm.
Can I do this?
Yeah.
I just bought a $560,000 house. I'm like,
yeah.
What do I do here?
And did you guys have your kid at that time?
Yeah. So I had just had my child, and it was like, that was like a traumatic experience. My wife had COVID, emergency C-section. It was like a traumatizing time of my life. And so 2023 was kind of like, I was like, I'm going to give myself a year and see what I can do.
Yeah.
And
it was a good year.
It was a good year. I bought like almost 70 rental properties.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah. And like, how did you get to that point from, all that stuff happening to?
So it was really just like
do you think it was a lot of mindset?
Yeah, it was all mindset. It was like, I just did not give a shit about anything. And I knew what I was doing was
I'm
the
going to
right
make my
thing
money.
to do, and I was going to get my money. And that's what I did.
That's
I didn't care what the private lender, and like, so anyone listening, how you buy a lot of rental properties is like, you just do it.
Yeah. Find a private money lender.
And I don't care how many points they charge you. I don't care what they're, now.
Oh,
obviously,
it's got to be reasonable.
But
a little bit, but like at the end of the day, like you just do it. Like
yeah.
I had someone just call me. There's this property that's been floating around York for a while, and these 2 younger guys are they're our age, and I saw him outside talking to the owner, and I snapped a photo and I sent it to him. I'm like, you dog, like da da da, and he's like, I'm like, I'll stay out of the way, and he's like, a couple days later, texting me, and I'm like, dude, you want my advice on it? He's like, yeah, I'd like to pick your brain on it. I'm like, just buy it. I'm like, just buy it.
Yeah.
Like you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Even if it goes
not a home run.
Yeah.
It's what's the worst that happens here?
Even if it goes wrong, I mean,
you still learn.
Yeah.
Right.
And like the cool thing about real estate and flipping or anything like that is like if you overpay for a house and you sell it and you don't really lose money. You just don't make as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I did it. I just borrowed as much money as I could. I mean, even to this day, I probably have like a couple $1 million out in like private loans and
holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to, if you have a goal, you just have to
go all in.
Yeah.
Right.
Were you just like cold calling, or were you like, all right, let me hop on the phone?
That's another like
door knock.
No, I didn't. So I started out was like, I'm going to start my own wholesaling company. I started this business. You might have seen it. It's called Akela Cash Offer. People are like, is this Aquila? Is this Akela? I'm like, this is the worst business name ever. But I chose that because Akela is the wolf from Jungle Book or something.
Okay.
He's like an Aquila. I thought it was Akela, but it's actually pronounced Aquila. So like
Aquila.
It totally so I'm like pronouncing my own business name wrong. But an Aquila is like a lone wolf.
Okay.
So like, but wolves live in a pack.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not saying I'm a lone wolf, but like, it was more just like a
mental
thing.
It probably felt like it at the time.
Yeah. And like, I still am, but like, I don't mean that from like, oh, I don't need it. You still need to build a team around you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you have like VAs and bookkeepers?
I have
like
a bookkeeper. I have one VA that'll like just do like basic tasks for me. And then no, it's really just me. But back to the marketing thing. So I thought I was going to start this like wholesaling business, and the business got extremely tough, very tough this year. Last year.
There's a lot of competition.
Yeah, and the deals, I mean, most of the deals have sold. I mean, we bought 120 of them.
Yeah.
A lot of people sold off, so it's going to take some time for people to get distressed again.
Right.
And obviously, people are always getting divorced and blah, 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 but it takes a little while for that to, build back up supply of distressed houses. And
right.
I don't know the exact, all my marketing stuff, but most of my stuff either came from like referrals, other agents, MLS. Because like and that's why I'm trying to take like the social media stuff serious, is like once people, especially being young, and like you guys probably struggle with this, is like people don't take you serious. And like, I don't blame people, but like at the same time it sucks. You have to take you have to build so much credibility to get like an organic lead. And I think like the average cost per lead right now in the nation is like $2,500. So I just thought, I'm like, if I could spend an extra $2,500 or average $2,500 is the average cost per deal, I think.
Yeah.
I think Eric Brewer even said that. Now, I don't know how legit that is, but just say it is legit.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume that that's legit. So if I can just spend $2,500 more on a property, why even bother with the...
That's true.
So, like, I'll buy something on the MLS. Like, I just bought a deal on the MLS. It was like I think I paid like 152. Mm-hmm. Probably should have only been bought for like 170. So like I didn't get a killer now, just appraised for 250. But
oh wow,
it's like a lot.
Did you do a rehab to it?
Just like a light rehab.
How are you doing?
Is that multi too?
No, that's actually a single family. So I only buy multi-families as like rentals, but then every now and then I get like this itch for like a rancher.
Yeah.
And those are like, they're not like legacy properties like beach houses and stuff, but like those are the type you put them in your portfolio.
Just
like
keep it there forever.
Mine.
Yeah.
80 grand. It didn't really need anything.
Right.
And the cool thing about like rentals, so like that property, if you're going to fix and flip it, the reason no one else looked at it on the MLS is because it didn't make sense as a fix and flip. It needed like 40 grand.
Yeah.
But as a rental, all I did was paint it, refinish the hardwood floors, put central AC, new furnace in it. If you're going to rehab it, you probably needed a new kitchen. You needed granite. You needed...
Yeah, just all modern.
Yeah, more expensive things that you might have needed to rewire the property. Stuff like that, that if you're keeping it as a rental, you can save yourself 20 grand.
All depends on the exit strategy at the end of the day.
That is crazy that you're purchasing these properties for just about market value, putting minimal work into them, and still getting that really high appraisal. Because then you're just cashing out. I mean, probably breaking even for most of it, but it's still going to cash flow every month for you.
Yeah, they definitely cash flow. But now the interest has obviously killed me. But like, no, that property, I'm going to make money on it. So I've already rented it. I rented it for $1,900.
Oh, wow.
My mortgage is like $1,480. So it's like tight, but that's because the rates are so high.
Yeah, right. But it's a long-term play though,
too. And then I got 19 grand for my cash out.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still a win. Enough to go buy another one.
Honestly.
Let's keep on doing it.
Pay the bills for a little bit.
Very cool. So I remember we were at Judah's meetup the one time, and you had a creative finance deal that you were trying to sell. I forget where it was and the details of it, but obviously you're familiar with creative financing. So when did you start to learn about that, and like how did you put it into action?
Yeah, so the creative finance, I remember that was actually a property I purchased. I was just straight up willing to sell it creatively.
Okay.
Yeah, the creative finance, once you start to like build a portfolio, you basically, that's how like everything used to be transacted. Like cars, plants, like it doesn't matter what, like banks just weren't involved because it's too slow. It's too, but really the person who turned me on to creative finance was my business partner, Dave. And he's like, gets so excited. Like he'll offer creative, like that's his like go-to, and like just over talks it to the seller. And like, he even lost us a deal once. We had this 8-unit. He's going to kill me for this, but we had this 8-unit. A lady wanted 150 down, 150,000 down, which is obviously ridiculous.
Yeah. But
she was willing to sell the 8-unit for like, I think it was like 4 or something, just say 500.
Yeah.
Which was like, it was
sure, like 33% down.
Yeah, so that's what he said. He was like, I mean, you're crazy. I can put less down with the bank. And now this is back when the banks were giving you commercial loans for 4%.
Oh my goodness.
But I was like, Dave, you just say yes. Like, no matter what, you take the creative deal.
Yeah.
Because it just, so he literally had the same thought. And he straight up, and I bought a beach house. And so I was at my beach house dealing with that. He went on this appointment without me and ruined it. And then actually a local realtor ended up buying the deal, gave her exactly what she wanted.
Creative?
And, gave her the 150, the 4% interest.
Jesus.
Yeah. But the creative deals, probably like almost everything I buy is either done creatively with my private lender or done creatively directly with the seller.
Okay.
Because these private lenders you can work deals with them too. Like, look, I'll give you more points. I want a lower rate, and then I want like an extended period, or like it's all just...
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
it's all negotiable.
Yeah. Especially if you can get in, like the private guy I work with is he's an actual real estate investor. Like he knows the game. So like if you're going to someone who's lending out their IRA or something, they might not understand it or something like that. But like he's not lending money off a line of credit. Like it's straight up his cash.
Yeah.
And it's like fun.
Dude's just loaded.
Yeah, he's loaded.
He's like, go buy another property.
Yeah. Now he's making a ton of money, but it's all, the creative stuff is game changer.
Yeah. So earlier on, you said that you still have like several millions out on loans for like private money. Are Is that because you just haven't gotten a chance to refi those properties, or like what's the situation with that?
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an 8 unit, a 9 unit, and a 3 unit that are all were all purchased with cash.
And they were all referrals too?
So the 3 unit, this deal is pretty sick. So I own a 4 unit. I wholesaled this 4 unit to the guy.
Yeah.
Back when I owned Premier Home Solutions, and he then made his wife is a realtor. She made a Facebook post that he was going to sell off like 12 of his rentals, and that one was on there. So I obviously knew the property like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
So I was able to work a creative deal with him where I gave him like $60,000 down, and then he held like a 3-year interest only at 8.5% for me. So that's a 4 unit rate right here, and then this 3 unit right beside it. I could tell the guy was working on it and so on and so forth. So I talked to the owner when he was there, and I was like, have you ever thought about selling it?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I might. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes like being young, you're like,
they don't take you serious.
Yeah, they don't take you serious, and you're not really as extroverted as like people think you are. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
You know, I went through the motions, didn't really push him too much. Literally 2 or 3 days later, or like that weekend, listed on the market.
It's insane.
And I'm like, fuck.
It's the worst. Yeah.
And then I was like, shit, that's a 3 unit. It's listed
the
as a single
worst
family
when
house.
that happens. Yeah.
Oh, I love when I see that.
So someone listed it as a single family house because the guy bought it and was trying to turn it into a house. So I'm like, holy cow, this is like,
let me buy it.
This is gold.
Run.
Yeah.
So I owned the 4 unit.
Yeah.
Right beside now there's this 3 unit for sale as a single family for $130,000.
Wow.
Oh wow.
130.
I think it was on for like, I bought it for $130,000. I forget it was listed for $160,000.
What is that a door?
43.
43.
Yeah, and it's like beautiful. It looks like something like, I know in like in York there's not much like exposed brick and all that cool stuff, but like that was like already done. So I'm like, all I need to do is put a furnace, 2 more furnaces in, which I did, and then since I got such a good deal, and I split all the electric perfectly. I split all the water perfectly.
How much did that cost you to do that?
So to put those 2 furnaces in, it was like $7,400.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
That's like really good. So when the guy, I've never used this guy before.
Yeah.
And when he gave me the price, he was like $7,400. That's 2 furnaces. So there was 1 furnace that powered the whole thing. So he put 2 furnaces in and then like basically split the ductwork. And for $7,400, I'm like, does that like include everything?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, when can you start?
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I have a guy who works directly for me, and so he helped me. Him and I, well, he pretty much did it, but we just ran. So in York, you can now split your water and sewer bills and put them on the tenants.
Right.
Like in their names?
In their name.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, you can't. The sewer company in York got sold to a public company. So it's like it's not owned by the city anymore.
Yeah.
And
they didn't do that in Harrisburg.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can't put a lien on your property.
Yeah.
So you can split the water. So if since the property was vacant, all torn apart, I split the hot and cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically all I put into the property. And then I have a guy who works directly for me that's basically just doing everything else, putting a kitchen in, just basic stuff.
So is he technically in-house, like W-2?
He's a 1099. I'd like to put him. I just started working with him. So if he stays committed to me, I'm going to try to bring him on as an employee and get him benefits. And because that's obviously a problem. My wife still works, but like at some point I'd like her to not work and
retire,
still have some benefits and stuff. So I maybe get a group policy.
Yeah,
because I would think he would like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. How'd you meet the guy?
So he actually did work for another contractor, and who did work for me. And like he was always like, I check on my jobs. Like I'm like probably checking on him too much, but he was like always there. Yeah, and like he was. Always had like his little Bluetooth speaker and music blaring, like working. I'm like, this dude's like a hard worker.
Yeah.
And then I just would always ran into him at Lowe's, like on the weekend and stuff. And I'm like, this dude should work for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, and like, I don't know about you guys, but like the best way to find someone to work for you is really steal them. I mean, really. If you look at like,
we did that with our VA.
Yeah. If you look at like a lot of like business, that's where you why go out and try to go find someone that's doing really good and steal them.
Well, we didn't steal our VA, but like she came to us. She didn't want to work with that company she was going through.
Was she working with like a professional VA company?
Kinda, but they were only paying her like $1 an hour.
That's where the whole VA thing gets crazy.
Yeah, and we're like $1 when she told us.
Yeah, we were shocked about that.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
like, listen, like, we could give you a little more.
We'll give you 50 cents more. I have a problem with VA stuff. It's like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I know that
It feels wrong, right?
It is wrong, I think.
It feels wrong, but
I think it is.
I mean, we do commission too, so she gets commission as well. So
I don't know. It's just how the ratio of currency would work.
Yeah.
In other countries, it's like
maybe I'm uncultured from that, but I just think that's because they're not working in that culture. That they're working in our. They're producing U.S. dollars and being paid.
Well, that's like, let's say you want to start like a clothing company, right?
Yeah,
and
that's what Nike.
They get everything overseas.
Of course, yeah.
And then we pay $185 for our shoes, and
they made
get them on AliExpress for like $20, super cheap.
Yeah, no, it's weird, but it makes sense for business. Yeah. It's money.
And my VA was his name or her name. His name was Joel. Now her name is Jewel, and she's now a girl.
Interesting.
Yeah. How long have
she's always I don't know what I'm supposed to
say.
I don't
really
know.
told me, but
yeah.
Jewel has always like kind of done off and on work for me. Like I got my boat license. I'm like,
no way.
Here, take this test for me. So she took that whole course for me.
No shit.
I guess I probably shouldn't say this, but she's taken some of my continuing ed as a realtor.
I got to do that this year.
Oh yeah,
so.
You just
gotta reach out to.
So like with the boat test, I took the test.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to like have to because some of those like you have to I don't know, I can't remember how the continued ed is, but sometimes if you fail, you have to like start the whole like
training.
The training part over again.
Yeah.
Plus, I didn't want to be like a complete piece of crap and just have some VA take my continuing ed.
I know what you mean.
Saves you some time.
Really
get
random,
more deals.
But I have my boating license in Florida.
No way.
Yeah, really,
I didn't know that.
Really random. I was down there for like 2 weeks.
You wanted to ride a jet ski?
Yeah.
Oh, you need that to ride a jet ski?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
I think they're good anywhere. They're
Maybe.
reciprocal.
Maybe.
And they are good. So like if you ever go to rent a jet ski, they like make you take this. And like if you've never rode a jet ski, which you probably have.
No, I did in California. It was a bad experience.
That was like crazy.
Really bad.
I wasn't there, but
literally almost got eaten by a shark. Like
when you get on those and you go out into like the actual water and there's nothing but water.
Dude, I love that shit.
I like it too. My wife and I, we went down to Destin. Where were we?
Oh, I love Destin.
I think we were in Destin, or where were? We were in Destin, and I convinced her to like rent a jet ski. I'm like, I'm a complete asshole on jet skis, 4-wheelers. Like, you don't want to get on them with.
Yeah,
like I grew up on that.
You're gonna try to throw her off.
Yeah, like I know how to operate. I'm like, you're not gonna get hurt, but like it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And we go out, like, we're in a bay, and she's just hysterical crying.
No way.
Yeah, it was bad, so we ended up going back. But
jeez.
What, just because you were going too rough? Was the water too choppy?
Dolphins were coming up around us.
That's
and, like,
that's
cool.
kind of cool, though.
It's cool,
Yeah.
but, like, I have to admit with her, like, when you're out there and, like, there's nothing. And
it's a little
choppy,
scary.
and then you see these dolphins are pretty till they're, like...
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention, like, when we just got into Destin, the water, it was, like, right before a hurricane. The water was, like, 80 degrees. Crystal clear. Dolphins were, like, swimming in the water. And we're like,
wow,
oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And then one of them came, like, coming straight at me and, like, swam past me. And it was, like...
See, that's scary.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're probably like, that sounds cool. But, like, no, it was cool, especially looking at it. Like, no, it was, like...
When it's that close.
It was, like, a dart coming through the water.
Yeah.
So then, like, 24 hours later, we're on a jet ski and they're swimming beside us.
She's already like,
no, I've had it.
Like,
she's already terrified.
Now, I do want to get into masterminds. We were talking a little bit before. So how much has that impacted like your business today?
Yeah, I think masterminds, courses, mentorships are like total game changer. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times you pay for them and what you might actually get out of them might not be worth it. But like the value that I've always gotten out of them is more like kind of just like the mindset that they put you in and then the action that they cause you to take.
Yeah.
Like I've paid people to help me with social media. I've paid people $1,500 a week and it was a total waste. But then if I didn't pay them that, I would have never went down like the whole social media, like even understanding the importance of it. Then I've paid $40,000 for, Carlos and Sal's mentorship, which was life-changing. I became friends with like Eric Klein. I don't know if you know his, but like I could, like, yeah, I'd consider him my friend. Like all these guys in the real estate space were pretty much part of that mastermind.
Yeah.
So like that was super valuable. And then they also had like created like, they created like SOPs and like just anything you can think of, they create. I don't even know if they actually used them or they like put together this training. They're like, shit, we have like this, we're like responsible now. We have to actually produce something. So they produced like this state of the art, like Dropbox, and like, so like that was valuable. And then I joined a local one that was like $12,000. It was like a total scam.
Oh, dang.
Ooh. That wasn't he didn't scam me. It was like a Christian based syndication group. And like, obviously as a Christian, like it's, you know, we value, and like I really value being around like-minded Christian men and women. But like at the end of the day, like I was part of that group to learn about syndications. Not to be in a Bible study.
It was just all Bible study.
Yeah, it was basically Bible study.
Yeah.
And which was,
well,
it was good. But
that's
like,
good that it's Bible study, but you shouldn't have to pay for a Bible study.
Well,
especially $12,000.
It's like we just go for a Saturday, go to a cafe.
I mean, I know, like I'm even a little uncomfortable even saying that, but like, because I'm not trying to bash him.
I'm not saying any names. We're not saying any names, but like
it was just like, come on, like I don't know if it was because he didn't want to act, because like if you're a trainer, and like it's something I'd like to do one day is teach and train, but like I want to be able to basically unhinge and tell every secret I know.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was willing to tell any secret he knew about Jesus, but he wasn't willing to tell every secret he knew about syndications.
Yeah.
And that rubbed me like...
just false advertisement.
Yeah, just rubbed me the wrong way. And I think to this day, I think a lot of people have left the group for the same reason. So it's...
You've been through some things.
I've been through some shit.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, honestly, everybody that we've had on the podcast, including ourselves, it's like everyone goes through their highs and definitely...
That's like
rock bottoms.
We all do go through, and that's why a lot of people who don't ever get into the business or who are still stuck at their jobs right now, or people who think whatever they're going through is harder. They're like, oh, whatever Isaac went through, that was easy. I would have chose that over now.
No.
Yeah. So how do you deal with stress?
Stress. I actually like stress. Once it's over, it's almost like you can it's almost like when you drink a coffee, you can like feel the caffeine hit you. Like that's how I don't know. I'm pretty good with dealing with stress. I've dealt with so much of it. Do
you think it kind of drives you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, see, then like my wife, like, and obviously as like a man, it's a little different. Like, you know, you're supposed to be like the mountain, and then she's kind of like the waves crashing into you.
Right. That's like an analogy. I like it.
So like I like just feed off of it. Like it's just like let's go. Like because
like give me your problems. Like
I just and like I know I'm so confident in myself and what's at the end. That, like there's nothing. Like there's no debt, there's no mortgage payment, there's no tenant not paying that's going to scare me to keep going. Now my wife, on the other hand, which is good, is the balance. She'll to this day, because when you buy 70 some rental properties in a year, like just to let everyone know, I'm making no money right now because it takes a while to stabilize that.
Yeah,
like I got more vacancy. I don't have more than vacant than rented, but like it just takes. It's stressful.
Yeah.
So she'll be like, she like did her own math behind my back on like she took my REO list, and she's like, we're not making any money. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, well, you should stop buying houses then. And I'm like, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
So like, you just have to really know what your goals are. And then now, like right now I'm in definitely in like a stage where I'm trying to like, not just be an asshole about buying stuff. Cause one thing I have learned is like, there are always deals, always. My partnership exploded and we've liquidated like 70 some rentals. So like as soon as you've driven by that 8 unit 100 times in your life and you knew you should have called it and you didn't, and then I buy it and you're like, oh, how did Isaac buy that place? Like a lot of people said that about Lebanon, so my partner was from Lebanon and we started buying in Lebanon then, and then there's some investors up there who were like, dude, we've been calling these people all the time, then you came in and you bought it. I'm like, well, that's just because like I was the new guy, I called him and bought it.
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
If he would have then been on me when our partnership liquidated, he would have bought it. So it's like just downtown York, there's a firm that renovates apartments and like warehouses. The partnership that I was in, we owned a 12 unit and a 5 unit side by side, and then beside that was a vacant a 6-unit and a law firm. The law firm owned that 6-unit. That law firm liquidated, or they merged with another law firm.
Yeah.
So then this apartment company that like develops bought that. And Dave, Michael, and I were like, name drop there on accident. But we were like, damn, like we should have been on that law firm more. That like that's never going to sell ever again.
Yeah.
Well, guess what just sold? Because they over renovated it. Their debt, like it just something happened in their business. They just sold it.
Yeah.
So it's like you never know when something's going to come available.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm saying all that just to say that like, yeah, you need to buy, but at the same time, like there's a time to like make sure you're stabilizing your
calm down, make sure.
I mean, sounds like us. Our bank account is pretty bad, but we just went under contract on a 4-unit. So it's like
we got a 5-unit coming up too.
Yeah, when you have a good deal, it's like you can't pass it up.
And
so.
it's okay to sell stuff. So like say your 5-unit that you have, is it finished now?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Like say in 2 years, like so like I'm going to do my first like official 1031.
Yeah.
So I had a property, I bought it like right when COVID happened. I bought this 2-unit on Linden Avenue, which I don't know if you guys heard of the avenues in New York. It's kind of
I haven't, no.
I guess you could call it like a nicer area of the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like every street is like an avenue. So it's like Linden Avenue, Madison Avenue, Florida Avenue, Texas Avenue. And it's kind of near the fairgrounds, kind of like between the city and West York. But
okay.
So I bought the 2-unit for $62,000. 2 units back then were worth like $70,000. So it wasn't really like...
Yeah, it wasn't the craziest deal.
I placed tenants in it without putting any money into it. Well, it caught fire. The tenant was smoking, or mom was smoking on the back porch and sat the cigarette like on the railing. And I guess however that turned into a fire, Damn. And it was like, it was a total loss from like, it displaced them and I had to renovate the whole thing. So I went through insurance because like if I could go back, I would have just contracted it myself. But it was $175,000 in renovation. Well, I just sold the property for $206,000.
Oh wow!
2 units in York are only selling for like $180,000.
Dang.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, so it's like I'm gonna make $150,000 on that.
Yeah, that's insane.
So like what? And so, but it's also gonna be a brand new property. I was like all excited to refinance it, and like I still could, but like I'm saying that just to say like it's okay to sell stuff.
Right.
So I'm gonna make $150,000.
Have that in reserve.
So now my wife.
Relax.
Yeah, chill out, Erica.
But I was gonna ask, since you're not like making any money right now, just getting all your property stabilized, do you have reserves set aside?
Just so like my wife has a job, which is like a total game changer.
Yeah,
she's held it down for past 7 years.
Oh shit!
I mean, between all those like even Premier Home Solutions, we didn't pay ourselves $2,500 a week. Right away. It started out nothing, then it started out $500 a week.
Yeah,
which was like $50,000, or it started out at $500 a week. Then it was like whatever $50,000 was a year, and then it progressed into that. So like, yeah, she's always had a job, and she doesn't make a ton of money because she's had the same job for like 8 years. Which anyone out there that has a job, you want to leave your job like every 2
years. Yeah.
Well, just because like so she works for Tesco Technologies, which is down off Padonia Road, right in Hunt Valley. Okay. They sell like it's a wireless communication tech company. So like if you went into like a stadium or whatever, there's 80,000 people in there, right? So but everyone's cell phone works. So that's because there's like all these like
transmitters,
some sort of whatever,
like Nate would probably know.
Yeah, some sort of like Wi-Fi, like cellular antenna and like stuff like that. That's what they like sell. Okay. And they used to be publicly traded, so it was like a big company. They actually just went private, but so she's been there for a while, and it's just she's had a steady income.
So how long until I don't know if she's gonna watch this or not, but what would be your goal?
She's actually pregnant again, and
congratulations! That's amazing.
Do you know, boy or girl?
It's a girl.
Oh shoot!
What was the first one?
A girl.
A girl as well.
Yeah.
I'm just popping out girls left and right.
We're done. But
we're done.
We actually haven't really like publicly told. We've told people, but like
we got the inside scoop.
Once you have like one kid and like you get like the whole social media thing is cool, but like sometimes you feel like you should like protect your kids and not be like and like plus it's weird like women. Sorry to all the women. They are like more emotionally and like connected to like their pregnancy than like obviously their husband, and definitely than like a public.
Yeah.
Just
That's actually
just
sweet,
a weird
just me and my
tangent,
baby.
But like I don't want to see like someone's belly with their jeans unbuttoned and like it's intimate and like so like we just decided that this pregnancy we were gonna
keep it off
Facebook and so we did. But well, I kept saying like you're gonna quit, and then I would
buy some more.
Get sued, get fired, whatever it was. So this time around though, like so once she has the baby, I think you have to like work for the company like 30 or 60 days after to not lose like that health benefit of the birthing process, which is expensive.
Right.
And so after that she's done.
She'll get like 3 to 4 months maternity leave.
So her company actually doesn't give maternity leave. They do like I think they let you, or maybe they do. It's like, but it sucks. It's not good. But yeah, her company just did the whole like unlimited paid time off. Oh, okay. Which is like a scam. Yeah. So when the company that company sold, before this sale went through, they were like, you guys are all going to go to unlimited paid time off. Well, that was because, I don't know if you guys look at your balance sheets and like what is good and bad on a balance sheet. Well, paid time off on a balance sheet is really bad for a company. So they basically convinced these people, these employees that, we're going to give you unlimited paid time off.
We do paid time off, yeah.
So if you had, so then they wiped, because like, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I was say, how's that possible?
They just did, and no one took
advantage of it?
No. So they have unlimited time off, but it's not really unlimited. You have to request it. It has to be approved. But before, like, so like if you had 2 weeks banked, you had to, if they didn't use it, you lost it. So like if a company had 100,000 employees and every employee had 2 weeks banked, that could be hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars.
That makes sense.
Of negative income because that company doesn't, you know what I mean? So
I actually still have my full-time job. I work over at a warehouse called TE Connectivity. And it's pretty much similar to what you just explained, is that every employee gets 2 weeks of paid time off. Let me rephrase. 2 weeks vacation paid time off, 1 week of personal paid time off.
Do you zoom around on a forklift?
I do. Do I look like a forklift operator? Forklift certified.
It's not cold in there.
Oh my God, it is. There's no AC or heat. So summer I worked for
JB Hunt, I basically worked. I ran like, I wasn't in charge or involved in like what you do, but I don't know what trucking company operates over there, but
typically we get a lot of rider coming in.
Yeah, so I basically would then work. I was in charge of like rider and all the.
Okay.
Because it's a lot like TE or whatever. It's cheaper for them to contract out the trucking.
It is than have in house. Yeah. So what, you were like dispatcher for rider?
Sort of, but I was like the account manager. So I was like I had two dispatch. At one point I was a dispatcher, but when I left, I had 2 dispatchers under me. And then I was kind of like in charge of like the financials of the company.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I actually left that job, and JB Hunt was like a really good company. So TE is probably a really good company too. I know it's a big company.
They just treat their employees like shit.
They do. JB Hunt was like phenomenal.
I'm kind of like spoiled over there, to be honest, because they know that I don't really need to be there, at least in their eyes. My bank account shows
you got to keep them in check.
Right. Oh, I got a funny story actually.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it because my boss watches this.
Oh shoot.
I'll say it. So my boss, or what used to be supervisor, his name, I'm not going to say his name. Anyways, so whenever he came to the company, pretty much as soon as I started, he came like a month or 2 after I did, originally from Mexico, where he was like a higher up over there, and we needed some help getting like organization at our company. When I first went there, it was like right after COVID, and everything was kind of just in brambles. So he came over, helped organize, whatnot, and we ended up getting really close, actually, to the point that he then, like, I want to say he was kind of, like, biased towards me versus the other employees. He, like, because I told him about, like, my real estate, and he respected that I had, like, other endeavors outside of this company where, to be honest, like, I'd say the average age for that warehouse is probably, like, 50 years old. So everyone's just waiting till 62, whatever.
It's sad.
So yeah, he took me under his wing and like gave me all these extra little tasks, moved me up from like a level 1 employee to a level 2 employee to a level 3 employee. And just last week, he got promoted again to a operations manager. So that's higher up than the supervisor. He's now like basically assistant manager to the GM. This motherfucker, he's got like a stick up his ass right now, and I'm not dealing with it. So the other day, last Friday, and it's Friday, like, you know, I'm just kind of slacking off a little bit. And So we get 2 10-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch break, right? 2 10s are paid for, lunch, clock out. I take my first 10, whatnot, go a couple hours, and then for my last 2 breaks, my lunch and my 10-minute, I combine them both, so I get like a 40-minute break at the end. So I'm in his office. I'm actually just going to read you the text because it'll be way easier than trying to explain this. But I put him in his place, and I was happy about it. Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, I can already tell you're going to be the type employee as your guys' business grows, you're going to slowly become an asshole at work.
You think so?
That's basically what happened with me and the first guys. Like, he would allow me to
I'm already there.
He would allow. I was buying rentals, and like I was allowed to buy any deal for no markup.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like,
of course you're going to.
I'll buy this one. I'll buy this one. I'll buy this one. Well, that obviously started to create a problem. I'm like, hey, look, that's what you said.
Yeah.
And obviously I was in the real estate business, but even at my 9 to 5, I was a total ass because I was basically same thing. I'm like,
it's not that
fire me.
Right. It's not that I'm an asshole. It's more or less just like I just stopped caring as much. But anyways, so we like clean up at 2:15 p.m. I go there from 6 a.m. to 2:30. We clock out. Clean up around 2:15, just like get all our trash and shit off the lifts, pallets, take it off, whatnot. He texts me at 1:51 and says, stay 20 minutes after 2:30 due to your extended break. I was like, called me out of the blue because he's never talked to me like this. So I was like...
You already knew you didn't take an extended break because you took your 10 and 30 at the same time.
Well, I took somewhat of an extended break, but it's not nearly 20 minutes. It was like, I think I'll get there. But I said, that's fine, but what time did I leave the break room? He said, 1:39. You touched base with me in my office at 12:40. You clocked out from 12:52 to 1:23 for your break. 1:40 is when you came back out. I said, right, so that's an extra 7 minutes because 10 minutes of it was my final break. I'll stay 20, but I'm curious where you pulled that number from. Well, actually 6 minutes if it was 1:39, but doesn't matter. So technically 6 minutes. And I think I was on the phone with Steph actually that day. Like, that's why I didn't come out yet. He said, so your 10-minute break was technically from the time you left my office at 12:40 to 12:52. Lunch was 12:52 to 1:23. Your extended break was 1:23 to 1:40. I said, no, you're wrong. I talked to Caesar, who is another boss in our office. I was like, I talked to Caesar in the office until 12:50, then took a piss from 12:50 to 12:52. And he was like, got it. Thanks for clarifying. I said, not a problem. Just ask me about it first next time before you come to say it to me. He was like, will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like,
I don't understand.
Just because
why would someone of authority and leadership even bug you over 6 minutes?
Exactly.
Those
exactly.
little numbers.
And it's just because he got that promotion. Now he's like trying to show that he's capable of handling this shit.
Hopefully he does watch this because that is foolish. Like now that I have this guy who works directly for me, he probably milks me for 30 minutes in the morning. Like, he texts me when he gets there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If he's milking me for 30 minutes,
as long as you still get your shit
it's
done.
okay. Even if he watches this, I don't like continue to do it. Like, I'm happy with your work.
Right.
Yeah.
So as long as I don't know if you guys have, I'm sure you have metrics with your.
Of course.
So
I mean, I bounce around a lot just because he did give me all those extra jobs. So
I mean, over 6 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Come on, Alejandro. I'm gonna say it.
Dang, you said the name. Going crazy.
No, I still love him. Love you, but that was.
What's your plan to exit?
Oh.
He probably is acting like this because he knows you're gonna quit. He's like, you better go now.
Nah, he don't want me to leave.
So last podcast we were talking.
I slipped
Jeff,
up, bro.
And
slipped
so
up.
the main goal was he was gonna quit in May. He told Rob Neilinger that.
Or this May?
This May. This upcoming May.
So then last podcast with Jeff, he told Jeff in 2 months, and Jeff was like, all right.
I didn't realize like what month we were in. I was like, it's like 2 months ish, and then he was like, 2 months, I'm holding you to it.
Yeah.
Stephanie and him got all hyped like guys. Like I didn't realize. Like just give me till May.
Yo, that night I put in my reminders.
Oh,
Make sure Skyler puts his 2 weeks.
I mean, as long as you have a reserve,
I have zero reserve right now. That's what I'm saying.
Home or,
Yeah, we have like no risk,
yeah, I would,
which is good.
I mean, car payment, car insurance, phone bill, food.
Well, that's
gas.
on. You decided to get the car.
because the amount of time you're losing
car,
by driving around on that forklift every day.
I know. If I dedicated that towards real estate, it'd be ridiculous by now.
Because like I know like wholesaling is really hard, especially right now. But like I'm pretty sure if you guys just even drove around.
Right. So here's honestly why I have that 3 month planned out by May. It's because we are doing the refinance in that 5 unit, which at the end of the day, like hopefully we bank 40 to 60,000 tax free. And I'm like, that's an entire year's salary, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, that's an entire year's salary for me. Right now at the forklift operating job, I make like $42,000 and some change a year.
That would be a good goal then, if you can somehow generate a year's salary.
Right, exactly. So that's kind of like, I'm going to have that year's salary on reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from there, I mean, we'll have the property stabilized by then. We have a couple other deals, obviously, we're working on to get those stabilized. Then we should have enough monthly cash flow coming in to cover our overhead for the company. And then any like active income streams from there, from wholesales, novations, flips, we pay ourselves out of that.
That is like a cool thing about real estate. It's not like all these other like drop shipping, e-com. Like you do 3 deals, that pays for
everything you need.
Your mortgage, you pay. You want a sports car. You want your Lambo like Nico. I don't know what does that cost? $300,000.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has to do
his Huracan,
6 flips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not that hard if you really like
break it down.
He was just here, wasn't he, Nico?
Yeah.
I wanted him to pull that into the garage.
Oh, that kind of be sick.
So cool.
I mean, that's a little bit. He's a car guy, so like that's.
I'm a huge car guy. Eventually,
Lambo.
I'm not there yet.
What's like your main like big purchase? Like, what are you excited about? That kind
You said your house is $560.
Yeah, my house is pretty nice.
Well, like beyond that, like what are you excited? Because I know you said you had a Rolex, but like, are you into watches? Do you want to buy like a Patek or something crazy?
No, I mean I want to buy a house on a canal in like Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's going to be like somewhere. Yeah, something like it was like it doesn't need to have a huge yard, but like that. Sick. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Florida and you're like getting an Airbnb that's like right on some sort of water where it's like maybe grass that's just this much, but then this like pool, hot tub, deck, center console.
That'd be
I'll
perfect.
show you pictures after
Something like that. Like that. But I've always done pretty well at like not getting stuck in like the luxury of like
materialistic things.
Not like so the watch thing was more like like I told myself it was like almost like it was like $12,000.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot, but like
and watches are an investment.
Yeah, it's not gonna go down in value really. But I mean, I'd like to get a nice car, but we'll say. But I'd probably only spend like $70,000. I'm not gonna
go too crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I'd get. I'm gonna buy an AMG GT, but
that look nice.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
No one has one around here, and they're like $70,000. I don't know if you know what they are.
You have to show me a photo.
It's like a 2-door Mercedes that.
Okay.
Yeah. $2 color.
Probably white.
White? Okay.
Everything I have is white, but just not like red or anything stupid like that.
I was gonna ask if it was red.
Everyone would know it's you. Yeah. I mean, if you have a crazy color.
One of my main goals is we're guaranteed to be in this office for at least a year. That's what the lease is. And hopefully by the end of it, what I really want to do is get some kind of cool sports car, get it wrapped in the Investor Unite logo, like have it like white with just like one big like logo on the hood. I have the whole vision in my head, the car thing, but I just want to be able to pull it into the garage. Like that's
you can write the whole car off.
Literally.
That's something you guys have done really well. One, your podcast is really good because I wanted to say this early is obviously like I learned basically this whole business from watching podcasts, YouTube, and
same here.
A lot of these podcasts have gone like totally down like these rabbit holes of like these 2 real estate gurus, Skyler and Steph, and they're talking about Donald Trump and
it's all politics right now.
Drake's whatever he like. I don't care. I don't mind like an occasional talk about someone's Lamborghini or something, but like, can we talk about real estate?
About the numbers.
I want the tips, the tricks.
Like even like Steve, when Steve Trang started his podcast, I like consumed that like it was,
and that's why
going out of business. That now it's turned into like, even like the studio is like this super sophisticated, like it's just too much. And like
that's why I think Bigger Pockets has done so well. Actually,
it's always
just real estate. Yeah. Like Brandon and David or
Brandon's a beast.
I love Brandon. Yeah,
but
is awesome.
Even him, like, do they even do like a video, or is it all like?
Well, what do you mean?
You watch them more than I do. Like here and there.
Is it even a video podcast, or is it all?
Yeah, no, there is a video.
Theirs is online.
Brandon's also not in it anymore, which I'm sad about.
Yeah,
they took him out like a year ago, but he still hops on occasionally.
He's like on another level.
Yeah,
but so I think you guys have just from the few I watched Rob's, I watched Isaiah's.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
When I was watching theirs, I heard their Novation deal. I'm like, you guys,
it's insane.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
do not do Novations like that. There's other ways.
Yeah, I feel like you cheated out the seller.
I just wouldn't team up with a seller ever like that.
Yeah.
And even putting a lien on the property doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah, I forgot about that whole situation, actually. I just remember
if they put a lien on the property and there's a bankruptcy, it still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's just dangerous.
Yeah.
The novation thing, I think, is a total scam.
That rain is going crazy right now.
Yeah, some people, they go all in with novations too.
Do you have like a preferred method? I know
of like buying or like
just
exit?
Buy and hold. Have you ever used conventional
financing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Occasionally, like right now, I'm not the most financeable just because I have like
your debt to income.
My debt to income's not the greatest, and like this is again like my first year in business. So like I've been able to so when you guys are doing like when you're meeting with banks and stuff, you have to like, control the conversation, and like a lot of people don't know this, and I don't really tell many people this, but like when you talk to a bank, like you have to tell them what you want. You have to. It's like huge. Almost. It's a sale. You need to put the best salesmanship hat on or sales hat you have on. It's crazy. Yeah. Like I just had a banker yesterday email me. The 11 buildings you bought last year, I need all the leases. And I'm like, I don't even know if I have all the 11 leases saved, scanned.
Yeah.
Like, I sent some rent increases. Are they all organized? I was like, how about a rent? I'll send you a rent roll. That should suffice. That's what I sent the other bank. Right. Okay.
They're fine.
Yeah, so you have to, like, really control that conversation.
That's good.
So I'm not the most financeable right now just because I bought the stuff I bought last year. They're not really looking at. Until I've owned it like for a year, they're probably not going to like. Yeah. Now I convinced this bank to do it, but I'll use conventional if it's like a fully occupied multi-unit, but it's hard to get competitive with buying it. Just really hard.
Right. Yeah. So far we've only used private money for all of our buy and holds.
I did hard money for my first fix and flip when I partnered with someone else, but that was basically.
Yeah, the hard money is I've never used like an actual like hard money lender where it's like.
But it wasn't in my name.
It was hard money bankers or something. Like I've never.
That is a company.
Yeah, whatever. That's where one thing I know. I said like just go, but that's like too much. You can't be spending 5 points. You need to get 100% financing on from your private lender.
Yeah,
purchase.
Yeah,
rehab,
at least
everything.
Well, you might not get your rehab, but like definitely at least your purchase.
If the deal's good enough, they will.
I get it, but yeah, you definitely like when you have to bring like this. I don't know if you guys saw that house I did in Maryland, a brick house. Like it looks beautiful. Like from photos, it's like wow.
Yeah.
So I bought it for $405. After closing, it was like $425. The private lender I used only would give me 75% loan to value. So I had to bring like a lot of money to the table. So it's whatever
25% of 425
of 400
of 400s 80 95
plus that 25,000 in closing.
So you're all in for like 120
plus my renovation of 55.
175.
Yeah, it sucked. It
hurt. That's a lot.
So now I'm finally at the end, and like it was just one of those houses I put it on the market and no one looked at it. Wow. No one scheduled showings. I finally got an offer.
Yeah.
And we accept an offer. I should make like $45,000. I'm like, this is good. They do a home inspection.
No.
They're like, we want 3.5% seller help.
It's horrible.
And I'm like, I can't. But then at the same time, I did the math. I'm like, my private loan is $3,500 a month. If I put this back on the market for 3 more months, because that's probably what it would be.
Yeah.
That's $10,000.
You're hurting yourself.
If someone else does a home inspection and they ask for $10,000, not $20,000 in repairs, I'm over. Yeah. So I'm like, where do I sign?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be like my first flop.
You made $3,000 off that.
So I'm probably gonna make about $3,000. So it settles like March 14th.
I mean that does suck. Obviously, when you put that much money and time and work into it,
it's awful. And
at least it's not negative.
And like I don't know if you guys have. Whoever did your 5-unit, it looked like you guys had a good time with the contractor, but
we tested on a bunch of contractors in that building.
Yeah. I know you guys are doing pretty good with your networking, but man, I have this. It took me all year. I mean, I probably did like 14 flips last year, and every single one I used the wrong contractor.
Really?
I mean, it was like
we just had one bad contractor.
I've had many painting over. You know what like roach poop looks like? It's like almost like.
It's like a sand.
Yeah, it's that's a good way to describe it. So he was supposed to sand and paint the cabinets. Mm-hmm. He sanded and painted the front of the cabinets, and I opened them up. I'm like, dude, there's roach shit inside still, and he's like, you didn't tell me I needed to wipe the roach crap out. And I'm like,
dude.
He's like, I'll wipe it out. I'm like, okay. And then he's like, we ended up just painting them instead. And I'm like, dude, that's great. Thanks. I go to look at him. No, he painted over.
He painted the roach.
He painted over the roach poop.
Oh my God.
So it's just like, ugh. So like, just one thing. And like, that's not like the end of the world, but like, so this one down in Maryland.
Still just something where it's like you show
when people do a showing, they leave you feedback and it says poor craftsmanship. I'm using an agent. Like I'm licensed, and normally I'd list my own flip, and I'm licensed in Maryland too, but my broker, I guess I just found out, isn't licensed in Maryland, so I'd have to put my license with like another broker down in, and like I was like, whatever, I'll just So I went and found like the number one realtor in Hartford County, and he lists stuff for like 4.75%. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like build a relation with him, and I'm getting these feedback. He's like, I don't know what to tell you, bro, and it's like poor craftsmanship. Didn't like the paint job. Didn't like.
Wow.
And I'm like just sitting there like just taking a beating. Like it wasn't me. I didn't do this. But like at the end of the day, like I know I'm responsible for it. And like the diverter on the shower, which is like where the water turns.
Yeah.
There's usually a 2x4 there where that's connected to. They shimmed it. They just took wood shims and shimmed it here.
So it's loose.
It's not loose because there's shims there. But it's just shimmed between the concrete board.
Oh Jesus.
And I didn't know that till the home inspection. I get the home inspection report, and I'm like, oh my
all this stuff just starts popping up.
Yeah, so it's like,
just
sucky.
Was that your first fix and flip in Maryland too?
Yeah.
Are you going back?
Probably not.
Yeah.
No, I will, because like nothing's gonna get in the way of me. But
the
mistake I made there was, so like one thing, like when you're flipping, you can't cut corners, and I don't mean like doing shitty work. I mean like. So like this house already had granite, it already had nice cabinets, but really if I was gonna flip it and sell it for $600,000-$700,000, it needed brand new white cabinets. It needed brand new granite, not black granite. And like it had like luxury vinyl tiles in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, they're good. Like they were in good shape, but they were like brown.
And it's a different market too.
So like it was just I cut corners down there thinking like I almost tried to like wholesale and do as little as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Like just paint it, put it on the market, and it was a bad decision. And I was like it's an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah.
So like I drove all the way, and like I know Isaiah and them are doing deals like far away, and it's like
all over,
Isaiah's on the road 24/7.
It's awful. So I drive an hour and a half there to meet two contractors. One wouldn't show up. The one shows up in Crocs and in a Camaro, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, you ever use Toro? I'm like, what? And he's like, Toro, the app? Yeah, my Jeep broke down. I got this Camaro for $100 a day on Toro. And I'm like,
geez. You're like,
that's the guy who I ended up using. But I didn't know because the one, so that story was a little not true exactly how it went. Basically, he showed up in a Jeep, and then that's when I picked him. And I was basically just like so sick and tired of meeting people. And then I was like, look, I just need someone to start.
Yeah.
And like, I got good vibes from him. And it's almost like picking a tenant. Like you think they're a good person, and like you don't ask for their income, and then they screw you.
Yeah.
How was his timeline?
It was awful.
Oh.
So it was he basically was just supposed to paint the house. And then his brother was doing like the bathrooms. And so that was another reason I used him, is his brother was like a tile guy.
Yeah.
And his brother actually did really well, but he did awful. But then when he showed up in that Camaro, I'm like,
it sounds like one of our.
I called my wife, and I'm like, I'm going to kick him off the job. And she's like, well, if you think you should. But I'm like, I can't kick him off the job because like I need the job to be done.
Did his name start with an M by chance?
No, his name was Josh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he said that one.
I don't care. This kid can
kick rocks.
Do a lot more than kick.
But I'll say the one that we had, the quality was good. It's just the timeline and the lies and stuff just wasn't it.
And I don't think these contractors understand how important the timeline is. On the way up here, I was talking to my buddy, and he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, he has a contractor who does good work on 2 jobs. I'm like, between your 2 jobs, like that's got to be a full-time work. And he's like, yeah, and he's just not like showing up. And dude, if they don't show up and you have to pay a private lender like 3 more times, and then in Maryland I missed I put it on the market in December or January.
It's like the worst.
Yeah. I bought the house in October or in September. He was supposed to be done the end of October. So I'm like, if I can get this on the market like before it gets cold, like I'll be good.
End October, early November.
It was, problem after problem. And then you get through you try to work with that contractor, and you get halfway through, and you're committed at that point. Like, there's no.
Yeah, see, that's how I kind of was too. And Stefanie was like, "Nah, we're getting him off the job." Like,
I got tired of it.
I thought I was slick too. I was like, yeah, you get I wrote out this draw schedule. Like, you get $2,000 when you start painting, but then you don't get another $2,000 till the paint is like, till I'm 100% satisfied. Well, then he's getting through painting. He's like, dude, I need some more money to, or no one's going to show up and help me. And I'm like, okay, how much you need? I need like $3,000. And I'm like, dude, I'll give you $1,000. And then I give him $1,000. And he's like, dude, I'm out of paint. And I'm like, yeah, remember you said you were paying for all the material. That's another thing. Like, I don't know what you guys did on your 5 unit, but like, really, you should pay for your material.
We realized that. So like, with the contractor we use now, we do labor and then we pay for materials. We love that so much better.
It's way better.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't do the best job, but like, I just didn't do it. So like, I didn't have to. But yeah, I thought I got this guy, like Mr. Camaro guy. I'm like, he said he's going to pay for the paint. He quoted me $10,000 for paint. There's probably $5,000 in paint here. Like,
yeah.
So here I am. I should have just known better, and whatever.
It happens.
Yeah. We all learn.
So what is kind of your goals for this year? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish? Just stabilize your properties, keep flipping, keep wholesaling, retire the wife?
I just want to stabilize my portfolio.
Okay.
I have a couple big deals in the pipeline right now that I want to close on. I have like an 8 unit in the suburb areas that I'm trying to close on.
Was that the meeting you had today or something for it?
No, that's actually a really cool project too. So I have that. And I forgot about that. I'm buying a warehouse right downtown York. It's 4 stories. I'm going to try to put 14 apartments in it.
No way.
So that's going to obviously take a lot of my time. And
that's awesome.
Probably make me.
Yeah, holy shit.
It's going to be a stressful. Because like obviously you have to progress in your real estate. It all comes down to raising money, really. That's really what you should become.
And going back to that, so when you went solo, like, did you have trouble finding private money?
No. So I was so involved in the business that I was like.
You're the one kind of talking.
I was basically like the hard money or private lender that we used a lot might not have been my primary contact, but I did so much contact with him that like I built a relationship with him, and then
just continued to use him after you left.
It's always hard. Like, I probably have more private lenders than maybe you have, but like it's still one of those things where it's like you think you have none, and but yeah, that warehouse project, it's more like one of those things where like I want to learn the development side, because like once you learn that, then like look at like what Rob's accomplished. Like he grew up obviously like in a construction background. I don't have any of that, and like the only way you get it is
you gotta go figure it out.
Yeah.
So like I'm like,
all right,
just go all in.
I'm like, the numbers work here. As long as I can figure out the money, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Is it gonna be like affordable housing or just market?
It's gonna be like luxury apartments. It's like right downtown. It's like the only building left downtown that no one's grabbed. Basically, the guy died. He got COVID and died, so no one's been able to get a hold of him. Obviously, he's dead.
Yeah.
And I own an 8 unit that the backyard touches the building. And I've looked at this building. It's one of those buildings where like it's probably going to cost $1 million to renovate. Everyone and their brother in York's driven by it, knows about it, but no one's done anything.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. Terry will never sell. Terry died. It's stuck in probate. And I was at my 8 unit. And I thought I heard someone in my backyard, so I like walked down there. I'm like, I heard like a female, and I'm like, holy shit, someone's in this warehouse. And it's like at these barn doors, like like doors that slide open. I'm like, no, just kind of like the 3 unit guy. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I start to walk away, and I'm like, Isaac, fucking turn your ass around, knock on that door, you're trying to break into the place. I'm like, no. I'm like, not doing it. I walked all the way back to my truck.
Really?
I got in my truck, and I'm like, God, I'm a pussy. And I walk back, and I'm like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, hello. And then she's like, no. And I'm like, okay. And then I was like, shit, like, can I get in? And she's like, and I like couldn't hear it. It was like the most awkward thing ever. And she's like, she comes to like through the crack. She's like, this door doesn't open. I'm like, I need help. And she's like, well, come to the other door. And I'm like, where's the other door again? And so she told me it was on the other side. And when I went in there, then at that point I became like not an awkward.
Just say I need help.
I don't know. I just didn't. It was like
that's the way to get deals, guys. Just say you need help.
I'm bleeding out.
It was like one of those things. It was like when a contractor doesn't respond to your phone calls. You text them, you're like, yeah, I was planning on dropping you money off. Hello?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So then once I got in there and she told me, like, because I had talked to Terry before, and I knew he was like an old school landlord, and like, so this warehouse is like pre Lowe's and Home Depot, like landlord stuff, where like you had to go to hardware stores and like have your own stockpile. So like this place is like full of like
material,
hundreds of breakers, tons of materials, tons and tons and tons of like everything you can think of that you would need.
Shit. Save you some cost.
Yeah, I don't know. They're actually selling a lot of stuff now, which is fine because it's 4 stories. The elevator's broke. I don't want to take any of that crap out of there.
Yeah.
But so I was like, well, I mean, how much do you want for it? And like, obviously I've built a rapport. Like I know how to sell people once I can not be weird. But like, so I went down the whole relationship with like her dad, and I was like, oh yeah, I never got to experience like Terry, but like, you know, I'm like the next generation of, you know, landlords. I'm only 30, 29, and you know, I heard tons about him, and like I just went down that whole like not line, but like storytelling.
Of course.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, we're willing to sell. Some people have made us offers. I'm like, well, what do people have offered you? And she's like, nothing that we've been happy with. And I'm like trying to dig a number out of her, and she wouldn't. She would not give me a number. She's like, well, just make an offer. And like, so I could have made an offer right there, or I could have left, and she gave me her phone number, and I could have gave her an offer. I'm like, well, how about 150,000? Or I think I gave her a range of like 140 to 160 or something. And she was like, yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm like, perfect. This is.
Did you already run numbers prior?
No.
Or you just shot that out your butt?
Shot it out. Because I was like, what's the worst that could happen here?
Yeah.
And so then she was actually going to finance it to me, 5 years, 5% for 140. So I had told her, I was like, look, I could probably give you a little bit more since you're going to finance it. I'd give you 140.
Yeah.
And so she said okay, and then she was like, well, I want to talk to my accountant. So she finally got a hold of her accountant. I'm like getting stressed out because like,
you want this.
I want this now. And then I like started to do a lot more like just research on her and the property, and I saw she had a lot of the stuff inside, a lot of the antiques like on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
I saw one of the local property managers, Elite Property Management, which they own like I think like 1,000 units in town.
Shit.
Going in and out of the building. They were like buying wire off of her, and I'm like, this is gonna blow up if I don't get this like actually signed.
Right.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to sign it until she talked to her accountant. And her accountant comes back and tells her, yeah, you should just take it cash, because you'd be better off investing your money, taking the proceeds and investing it in the stock market.
No, of course you could.
And I was like, I had like 2 options. I could have like badmouthed the dude, or I could just instead I was like, okay, cash is fine.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, because it was like 160 cash or 140 because I was going to give her more.
140 cash, 160 seller finance.
Yeah. And she was like, well, the 140 is fine. Or whatever it was. She took the lower number, even cash, or the whatever it was. So I'm buying it for 140.
Okay.
So like it's a freaking home run.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to put 14 units in it.
Do you already have like this approved by the township?
So
or?
I submitted a zoning determination before I closed on it, which you're not supposed to do it, but I just wanted to know before.
Yeah.
And,
of course.
And then today I met with all the dudes at the city that would be like the zoning officer, the permit guy, the fire chief, and just wanted to like basically I hired an architect that's in charge of the historic Harb district, so he knows like everything.
Yeah.
So it was actually his idea. He's like, we need to get this out in front of the city. That way we can just make sure they don't like punch us, as we get through it. And he was so good. It was all him, but that's what I was telling you. I wish I could have videoed it, but I just maybe next time. But I just felt
that's awesome.
It was like so professional. I'm like, this is like not appropriate for me to video. Because like every bigwig, like it was in the mayor's conference room, so it was like kind of
it's a big deal. Yeah.
And but like the architect, the dude who does like the inspections of like that type, not like your rental inspections, but like the inspections of the work.
Yeah.
He was like, well, you need to have an elevator, which whatever. That's why we were there. And then my architect was like, well, according to building code 2018, because it's a historic building, no, we don't. And the guy was like, yeah, we do. And he's like, no, the last paragraph on page 6, like he just knew it like
Let them walk up them stairs.
And I was like,
Keep going.
Keep going, dude.
You got it.
And then like, so like 3 or 4 things happened like that. And he just like, boom, boom.
Wow.
Boom.
Damn.
So it was like, so yeah, they basically said that they're going to work with me. There's actually, the only thing that's going to be a problem is the building has to have like the means of like exit has to, like where the fire escape is, has to go into a common area.
Okay.
So do you have to add an addition to the building?
So like a common area as in like it can't go into like your neighbor's yard. So it has to go into, and the property's basically landlocked by a parking lot. Well, the city owns the parking lot.
Yeah.
So they should just
So yeah, so my architect was basically like, look, this is economic development here. Like you guys need to approve and let him use your parking lot as a means of like emergency exit. And they were like, okay.
Wow.
perfect.
So like now that's not in like writing or anything, but that's gonna be like my biggest hurdle. So yeah, for what I'm working on now, that's
amazing.
That's really good.
That could take
How long has this process been so far for you?
just like 30 days so far.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've done a lot already.
But I've seen like, so like when I started Premier Home Solutions, we sold 120 homes, and I know a guy who redeveloped a 9 unit that he's still redeveloping it.
Really?
So we sold 120 homes. We bought 80 some rentals. We since sued each other, left each other. I started another business, bought another 80 units, and he's still developing a 9 unit.
My goodness.
So I just want to make sure that this doesn't turn into
That.
Yeah.
because it's hard when you're working with the city.
How much is the rehab? Or are you guys still trying to figure that out?
I don't know exactly, but probably. So one developer told me it'd be like 130 a unit,
Okay.
which is like
It's kind of high.
1.4.
Yeah, and then I met with this other guy who's done conversions before. He told me 60.
Oh,
That's way better.
Yeah,
but still, you still got to bet.
yeah. If
As
I
long
can do
as
it
he's
for
not walking
60
in
a
with
unit-
Crocs, you're chilling.
Yeah.
But 60 a unit at first, I was like, I would convert every warehouse in America.
Yeah.
If it could be 60. But so then I went to him and I said that, and he's like, dude, that's because your building's already here. Like, it's not like you're building, because you got to look at like when you're buying rentals is like what could you go buy? What could you go build this for?
Yeah.
Right.
So like those units are going to be worth 150 when it's all said and done. So I don't really want to build. I don't want to develop it for 150. But if I could develop for 60 plus my 140,
Easy.
Yeah.
home run.
That's a
It'll
kill.
change my life forever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I know we've been going on a little bit longer, but I have one last question. Do you have another one? Are you good?
No, we're good.
All right. So I want to know, what is like a day in the life of Isaac?
A day in the life of Isaac.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of. Basically, I wake up in the morning.
What time?
I usually wake up around like 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to get into that whole like internet entrepreneur, getting up doing
More
routines and stuff, but
routine,
I have a 2-year-old, so
Yeah.
like I value my wife and my child's time and like just that family time a lot. So like I try to be home. I don't know if you guys watch like Ryan Pineda's stuff, but like
All the time.
so he's like big with like not
Family and stuff.
not like you don't need to like I think, and like I even post a lot of the videos I posted like working hard and like outworking people, and I think that's super important. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like you still have to like you don't have like you can
It's still
live a
work-life
life.
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like any high achiever, like I always think I'm not doing enough. Like I'm gonna leave here and be like, oh my god, I spent 2 hours over there, and now I need to make up I need to make up the 2 hours tonight. And
I'm the same way. Yeah.
and like that's how you pretty much identify that you're gonna be hyper successful.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm pretty good at like making sure I'm spending time with my family. So in the morning, I try not to leave like too early, because like that's kind of like the time I have with Madison before Erica like starts working and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So like I usually am out the door at like 7-ish.
Okay. Where you
And
going?
then usually I go right to a job, one of my whatever rehab. So now that this guy's working for me, I like to like, I don't want him to think I'm like micromanaging, but I want him to know like I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need material? Do you need my opinion on anything? Like,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then from there, I'm usually just like hitting all my
Your job
spots like that. And then usually I end up at like my office where I'm like just doing like whatever
computer shit.
Yeah.
stuff like
Calls,
that.
emails.
And I need to be better about like my days are planned pretty well, but like I don't like a content day. I don't really like, I kind of just, I usually put it on my calendar, but it usually goes wild. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm pretty much just driving around all day, checking on stuff.
That's awesome though.
Yeah. That's the real
But
estate
it's like,
life.
yeah, it's enjoyable. Like
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want, whenever I want.
That's
Amen
what
to
it's
that.
about. Well, awesome. Well, we truly appreciate you coming on,
you, sir.
Isaac.
It was very
And
nice.
if you guys want to connect with Isaac, we'll leave his information down below. Do you want to like shout out anything? Like, do you want them?
Shout out Stefanie and Skyler.
Thank you.
So with that being said, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.